right? Leadership is influence, but to influence other people, you must first be able to influence yourself. Now, the scary thing is that until now, we have all been influencing ourselves regardless. But you have to ask yourself, have you been influencing yourself to do something good, or are you influencing yourself to do something bad? All right. If you're not doing anything, that automatically means you're influencing yourself to not do anything, which can't be good because you're not productive. Okay. So I'm just going to break down certain things that will allow us to open up, if you haven't already, your leadership energy. Okay, leadership is simply an energy. Some people feel like other people were born to lead, but I genuinely feel we all have it within us, but it takes certain things within your life that unlocks it, so it starts to now grow and you now become aware of it. You realize, especially those that have been on this journey for a while already, you're going to realize that as you go through this business, you realize certain things about yourself, things that you didn't know existed, things that you didn't know existed beforehand. All right. And hopefully today, this will be something that you guys can now realize about yourself, that, you know what, I actually do have some sort of leadership skills. I have some sort of leadership energy, and once you do have that, you'll become an influencer ultimately. And what we're doing here is we're influencing people to change their life when it comes to finances, spiritually, mentally, whatever it is. The House of Riches community is intentionally trying to help people. I always say this, guys, and if you have this as well, have this mindset, regardless if someone's in the business, when you meet someone, have the intention to leave them better than when you first met them. I'm going to say that again. When you meet anyone, have the intention to leave them better than when you first met them. That could be anything. It could be something so small, but have the intention to leave someone better than when you found them. When people join this business, it's great, it's fantastic, right? I know they're not going to be here forever, but I know they're going to take something away, and that will stay with them for life. Whether it's we opened up something in their mind, whether it's they went on an event, they went to an event and they experienced something they never experienced before. We want to have the intention to lead people better than when we found them. Okay. So if anyone taking notes, please do so. All right. I'm just going to share my screen very, very quickly. And you guys should be able to see. If you lot can just let me know. You should be able to see it. There we go. Cool. Right. Wonderful. Cool. So you should be able to see my screen. If you lot can see it, just let me know in the chat box. Wonderful, man. So if you lot can take notes as well, this will be much, much appreciated. Everything I'm going to say is going to go in one ear and out the other. As we know, note takers are money makers if you are brand new. It's not for specific affiliates. It's not for specific customers. This is for anyone, any human being. I feel they need to realize certain things when it comes to leadership. It's so important. I think the world, if everyone understood leadership to a certain extent, I don't think the world would look how it is today. All right, so today's training, guys, is going to be 10 steps for leaders to create. Okay, as human beings, believe it or not, we created 99.9% of things in our life. Okay, the 0.1% I'm going to give, if someone dies or whatever it is, we can't we it's very, very hard for you to say you created that, right? But everything else other than that, guys, we created it, good or bad. But when you realize that you can create, you become a very, very powerful individual. Very, very powerful individual. Okay, cool. So, step one, guys. All right. And when I look back, I'm going to try and relay my journey alongside these steps, because this happens from my journey to some of the wealthiest people in the world. They have all gone through these particular steps bit by bit. And if anyone's on this call, you're going to realize you pretty much did the same thing. And the scary thing is some people do this automatically. If you automatically have these steps in place, then you are what we call maybe a born or already made leader. Okay, some of you on this call, after each step, you're going to feel a bit uncomfortable, or you're going to feel like, wow, this is overwhelming, or this is a bit too much, or overstimulated, or whatever you want to call it, right? As we go down, and all it means, guys, is that you haven't maybe unlocked certain levels of leadership just yet. Okay, so we have the normal levels of leadership, 1 to 5. I'm not going through that today. I'm going to go through something very, very simple, but not a lot of people get to step 10, all right? Or even step 2, okay? But step 1 is you need to find out what you do not want. Step 1 is find out what you don't want, you do not want, right? Look at your current situation. The car you drive, the house you live, the bank account you have, the skill sets you have, the friendships you have, the relationships, whatever it is, the physique you have. Look at your current situation right now and pick out what you do not like about your current situation. What really gets under your skin about your situation? What disgusts you, right? When I was working my job, that got under my skin every single day I woke up going to my job. I did not want to be there. That was something I did not want in my life. Now, what that normally tends to lead to is you becoming a little bit angry or upset. Now, I don't want anyone, a leader doesn't get upset and falls victim. A leader will get upset and get pissed off. Don't fall into the trap of, oh, because I'm not driving a certain car, because I don't have this and don't like this in my life, it doesn't mean I'm going to notice it, acknowledge it, but then cry about it. No, what you need to do is get angry that that's the situation. And it's not a thing where you was you was dealt them cards, you pick those cards. Let me make that very, very clear. A lot of us, the world that like we live in, they like to make it sound as if you was given those cards and they're the cards you now have to play with forever. But when you realize, yes, you was given those cards, it may have been a rubbish deck of cards, it may have been a great deck of cards. But either way, guess what? You can shuffle them and you can change whatever card it may be. Now, for me, looking back as well, if I once I had acknowledged things in my situation that I didn't like, I then looked at my surroundings and looked at what other people had that I also didn't like that I would never want to have. For example, 10 years, with all due respect, 10 years at a certain job or 20 years in a certain home. Like you wouldn't really want that if you had the choice. There's something called justification. Some people say, look, I don't want a brand new car. No, you're only saying you don't want a brand new car because you don't know how to get a brand new car. So I'm going to say that I don't want a brand new car because I don't know how. I don't believe that I can change this car. So observe other things about certain people. When I used to go to work, I used to speak to certain people and I said to them, how long you been working at this job, bro? And some people were saying 15, 18, 20 years. I observed their situation and realized that is not what I want. I don't want to be able to be 20 years down the line saying that I'm in this situation, I'm not happy about it. Now, if you're on this call and you haven't been able to manifest or you haven't been able to create certain situations in your life, it is simply because you're able to endure the pain. It's not that deep. It's something you don't like, but the pain is not that bad where I'm not fed up. I'm not sick and tired of being sick and tired. I may say it, but it's not on my mind constantly. I'm telling you guys, during this period when I didn't know what I wanted to do in life, I was trying certain things. I went from job to job to job to job. I was trying certain things. And it was just things that I didn't want to do where I got fed up in all of them. And I said, I'm not doing any of this. So with these steps, guys, I really want you to take action today or like straight after this call and go through these steps. But this is step number one. Okay. If you can't do this step, then it's going to get hard for you to go through any of the other steps. Okay. Step two, what step one allows you to do is it eliminates what you don't want to do, and you're now led and you now have an idea of your ideal scenario. You get to now think of what you ideally want to be doing. That being fed up, that being pissed off, that not liking your situation should be enough for you now to be inspired. Now you can really, really think about what you really want to do. What's your real dream? What's your ideal scenario? There's a sad saying, right? That most people they die and they're buried. Sorry, they're buried at 75, but they die at 25. I speak to some 20-year-olds and they don't even dream anymore. They've been so controlled. They've been so just crushed basically. They're not able to dream. Like most people don't have dreams. It's sad to see, but it's what they want. If you can't dream, you're not going to be able to create. Where do you see yourself in years to come, guys? Where do you see yourself in years to come? You know what you don't want. Fantastic. You've made a picture of what I really don't want. That should now inspire you to say, okay, I don't want this, but this is what I really, really want to do. This is the house I want. This is the country I want to live in. This is the car I want to drive. This is the family I want. Right? You could observe it from I've observed, I don't know, single mums or single dads or single or broken families and realize what they did. My ideal scenario is I want to create a family. I want to create a family where the two kids, whatever it is, allow yourself to dream. This is step two. Really, really think and see it in HD. You've seen everything with the situation we're in right now, guys. This was seen in my mind when I first started, of having multiple people in the team, being able to travel around the world, being able to have total time freedom, being at peace, being fulfilled, having some sort of alignment. This was all seen in HD 4K many, many years ago. Some people don't get to this day. This might be uncomfortable for someone on this call. They can't close their eyes and see themselves on a beach, whatever it is, guys. There's no big, like, if you have big dreams, fantastic. If you have small dreams, fantastic. There's no comparison. It's not a competition. But at least have something that you would like to say, this is my ideal scenario. This is what I really, really want. And that is your inspiration. Okay. Step three. This is the difference between someone who's a dreamer. I was on the train today, and there was a guy speaking to me, right? He was like 46, and he said, it's so upsetting how today's world is. Like, I had so many. He said what really winds him up is when he thought of something, he thought of an idea, and then he sees someone else making loads of money doing that idea. That man, unfortunately, is what we call a dreamer. He thought of it. He was inspired by it. He wanted to have it, but he didn't do nothing about it. You are now a dreamer. Most people don't get to step three. You do not make a decision. When I speak to people, I haven't got time when I speak to people on freeway calls and you're not ready to make a £120 decision to change your life. You are a dreamer. I've asked you certain questions that has allowed me to understand what you really want. You said, I don't like my job. I don't really want to work my job. Okay, what's your goals for this year? I want to have loads of financial freedom. I want to have residual income. Okay, let's get you started. But you don't want to make a decision. You already are not someone that could take this business to where we're about to take it. You already are someone that is not, you don't have leadership attributes already because you can't make a decision. Leaders make decisions, whether it's the right one or the wrong one, at least make a decision because either way, you're going to learn from it. Either you're going to be grateful that you did it, or you're going to say, you know what, this was a bad decision, but what was my lessons from this decision? Once you do make that decision, it means to cut off everything else during that period of time. It doesn't mean forever. But if you make a decision, I'm going to look in for the next 90 days. I'm going to look in for 2025. I'm going to look in on my diet. I'm going to look in the gym. If you decide to lock in the word side, decision, pesticide, homicide, suicide, it means to look off. You're killing it off. There's no other alternative. And I've made a decision, and that is it. This is actually something that spiritually, it's got to do a lot with your spiritual side of things. When you make that decision, you wouldn't have first, number one, you wouldn't have got the idea from nowhere. Ideas are spiritual. You got that idea from somewhere. It wasn't you. But now you need to act upon it, else it will just be a dream, guys. A lot of people in today's day and age are great dreamers, but they don't do nothing about it. Now, once you make a decision, make a sacrifice, right? Make a sacrifice. I'm not gonna hang around negative people. I'm going to sacrifice going on my phone first thing in the morning. I'm going to sacrifice going out every weekend, blowing my payroll, my salary. Make a decision after this call, and this is why it's got nothing to do with this company. It's got nothing to do with network marketing. It's just got something to do with your life. That someone on this call, you need to make a decision. And you need to make a decision fast. All right? Design plus skill times faith. I thought on this call last week we did a bit of skill training. We did a skilled Zoom call. Faith is just believing in the unknown, the unseen, right? You can't see what's going on right now. You can't see how good it is right now, but you can see long term. That's faith. And desire is when you make a decision. When you have that burning desire, I really, really don't want this thing. I really, really want this thing. Now let me get to work. I know someone on this call is uncomfortable because you haven't yet unlocked certain leadership energies within you. There may be a certain block when it comes to your leadership energy from maybe when you was growing up, you was never told that you had to lead and you had to always follow, or you've been in your job for so long, you're now controlled, you're now programmed, you can't make decisions for yourself. Next, take action. Write, draw, scribble, whatever it may be, take action ASAP. There's actually a statistic, right? Where if you don't take action within the first 24 to 48 hours after making the decision, you don't get it done at all. Why do you think we tell people when they get started, guys, to go through the welcome message within the first 24, 48 hours max? Because after that, you now forget you made the decision. You're now not even excited about the decision, and you now fall back into your original way of thinking. Easiest step to take an action. It's not the biggest step in the world. It's not the biggest action in the world, but at least write down what you want, what decision you've made, what you want, what you don't want, and write it down. Don't understand, or if you guys was to give me a definition of the future, give me in the group in the chat box your definition of future without going on Google. What's your definition of future? What's everyone's definition of future? We're all writing it down. I mean, searching it. Sorry. Something yet to experience. What you make it, not happened yet. Anyone else? Are you guys not taking action already? Actions. What's yet to happen? Vision. Past. Okay, past actions. What's next? Okay, cool. Let me give you the actual definition of future, right? A period of time following the moment of speaking or writing, time regarded as still to come. I'm going to say that again. A period of time following the moment of speaking or writing, time regarded as still to come. So, yes, you can speak it, and that's why affirmations are so, so important, but writing it is just as important. Some of us haven't written since high school. Some of us haven't written or got out a pen and written on paper since university. How do you expect to create your future if you don't write and you definitely don't speak? Because your self-talk, the words you put out there, it's blatant. This is why our future isn't as clear and isn't as uh exciting as it could be, because we don't speak it and we certainly don't write it. Write out what you now want to do regarding taking action. That could be a vision board. This is now when you can actually say, you know what? Let me create a vision board of what I really, really want to be doing. My decision is to have a certain physique. Let me print out a certain physique that I want, and I can now see it in sight. All right, because we easily forget things. Some of us use our head as a storage cabinet. I'm done doing that. My head is not a storage cabinet. There's so much going on. I need to write things down. Once it is written down and it is somewhere where you can see it, if it's in sight, it's in mind. Write down what you are now going to be doing. Okay, prepare. If you fail to prepare, you're planning to fail. Right? If you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. Okay. Step 5. Attain goals and chief aims for the year. Okay. Do not become a delusional dreamer, guys. If you do not say what are your goals for the year, if you haven't already, we're already 2 months into the year, a month and a bit into the year. There is someone on this call that has not written down their goals on paper. And the more, the better. I challenge anyone on this call to write down 100 goals for this year. You probably won't be able to because your mind isn't stretched as much. You haven't thought as big yet. You don't believe that you can achieve as many goals or chief aims within the year of 2025. If you can get 100 goals down, I'll be very, very impressed. Most people are not able to do that. Most people have one or two goals. Law of average, you probably won't hit any of them. But if you have 100 goals and you now cover half of them, it's better than most people. Okay, now having a plan, I'm going to go into actually having certain plans. A plan is not the goal. Having a plan of what you're going to do today, what you're going to do tomorrow is not the goal. It's not the chief aim. Anyone that's read the self-confidence formula, it talks about having a chief aim. What's the actual aim? What's the actual goal for you 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the line? This is not, we don't do what we do for today, guys. All of our mentors, all the people that we study, right? I was watching Brian Corofers yesterday. He's been in network marketing for 25 years. He's been at one company for 25 years, but he's made over 25 M's. I would take that personally. I know a lot of people that have been in 25, they're over 25, they're in their 30s, 40s, and they haven't even made an M, let alone 25 M's from one company. So when you do write your goals for this year, spiritually, mentally, financially, socially, health-wise, those five fundamentals, make sure you write them down. You could do 10 for each, 10 spiritual goals, 10 mental goals, whatever it may be, but have attainable goals. What that means is that it's not realistic. I hate the word realistic because we're in an industry where you can go from making 5K a month to 100K a month within 6 months. That's not realistic in the real world. We're not in the real world. Making 10K a month is not in the real world. That's normal around here. However, have a goal that you feel good about because you know it's achievable. Mhm. Cool. Step 6, short-term objectives, right? Have short-term objectives and goals. So you got the yearly goal, you've got the plan, you've got the chief aim, which is the higher picture, the higher ideal scenario you want to be in, but you now need to break it down to where you now have short-term objectives. Hence why we always do 90-day runs, because you can compress, you can believe, you can work towards something in a shorter space of time. So you have monthly goals. By the end of this month, I want to recruit 20 individuals. By the end of this month, I want to have my trading account to whatever day we are in the challenge. Right? Quarterly goals. There's 4 quarters within the year. By the first quarter, I want to do this. I want to do that. It's something that you're actually working towards. And it's something that a lot of leaders that lead huge organizations, if you guys see Bell's planner and what he's got going on, everything is so organized and so planned so that you're working towards it every single day. Most people just step on one, two, are stuck on step 1 and step 2. They don't get down to this. Ask your friends around you, what's your 3 to 5 year goal? I guarantee you they're going to stutter. I guarantee you they're going to say, I haven't thought about it. What's your 6 month goal? By the summertime, how do you want to be living by summer? What's your situation? How do you want your situation to be by summertime? Mhm. Step 7, daily actions. This is the hardest step. Believe it or not. This is actually the hardest step. And everything I'm saying today, guys, is not rocket science. You guys have heard this before, but it's step by step. If you was able to go from step 1 to step 10, you will be able to create anything that you want. Write down daily steps. This is a to-do list. This is where the night before you go to bed, you wake up already knowing what you're gonna do. Have you ever realized when you're going on holiday or whatever it is, you have something that's going on the next day, you wake up with a bit more excitement. You're not so tired anymore. I don't know if it's just me. Every time I know I got a flight the next morning or tomorrow, or it's Christmas, you just happen to wake up. You're not even tired anymore. But most people wake up tired because you don't know what on earth is going to go down that day. You have nothing to look forward to. You have no steps towards your chief aim, towards your goal for that year. Now, this is when you have to kind of lock in. Some people, and it was me before, I didn't like being by myself. I didn't like my own company. If I went to eat, I could never go and eat by myself. I could never go to a event by myself. I could never go to a party or I could never go anywhere by myself. That's because I didn't know myself. And most people do not know themselves. That's why they're not comfortable with themselves. But you can only do this when you sit down with yourself. This is when you lock in, you put your phone on do not disturb, you close the door, you do whatever you need to do, you come to the cubicle and you lock in. This is what I need to do. This is what I need to do today. This is what I need to get done today. You can use your calendar, you can use Notion, Google Planner, whatever it is. This is when the real, excuse me, hardest thinking also happens. Meditation. Some people can't meditate. They can't sit for 10 minutes by themselves. You are never going to be able to create. It's not, you guys have all heard the book, Think and Grow Rich. But if you can't sit and think for 10 minutes by yourself, you're not going to create a lot of things. It's not work, as I always say, it's not free work, free jobs to get rich. It's not do overtime to get rich. It's not scam people to get rich. It's not anything other than think and you grow rich. This is the hardest part. Most people don't get to this bit. Okay, step E. Assign deadlines of who you're working with. Teamworks make the dream work. So you know priorities. Okay. You don't set up deadlines. I wouldn't suggest setting up deadlines for your dreams or your chief aim. You can't put a deadline on when you're going to have 100 mil or when you're going to have the Cullinan or when you're going to be financially free or when you're going to be time. You can't put a time on your chief aim or your dream. You can. I wouldn't suggest doing so. Because if you want a Cullinan in 3 years and it doesn't happen, you might get a bit upset. But what you can do is you can put deadlines on your to-dos and your action steps daily. For example, if today you need to have a call or you need to have a call with your leaders, you need to have a call with your accountant, you need to have a call, whatever priorities you have that day, you can have a deadline for that. This is when you now assign yourself to certain leaders. You assign yourself to certain mentors or coaches. Today, I'm going to study John C. Maxwell. That's one of my priorities today, as I need to sit down for an hour and I need to study John C. Maxwell leadership. Okay, this is when you now may be able to speak to your team. Okay, I want to get someone to do this today because I'm doing that today. Whatever your strengths are, I was just saying that if you know that you're good at something, stick at what you're good at. Don't try and grow or better your weakness. Find someone that is already good in your in where you lack. This is where a lot of successful people have done, have multiple 7, 8 figure businesses, is they assign, they hire, they delegate people where they know they lack, right? Where they know they're not good at. Instead of focusing on what you're not good at, focus on mastering what you're great at and find people in the team, find other people that are good where you lack. Very, very powerful. This is simple stuff, guys. This is not rocket science, what I'm talking about. But people do not do this step by step. And it's why you're not able to create. Okay? Keep score. The reason why we have whiteboards, the reason why we have things in front of us. And this is also statistically proven that when you keep track of your business or when you keep track of what it is you're doing, your goals, it helps you more than you think. They did a survey where it was actually if you have certain graphs of your progress, it allows you to see how well you're doing. And I was speaking to Tej today, right? And it's like when you guys start this journey, most of you are new to this industry. When you start this journey, you have to realize you come here with nothing. So you can never be worse than when you started because your mind's expanded straight away. So you can never be worse off than when you started. So if you were to look at your journey from when you started to where you are today, you are still in an uptrend. But if you don't see it, if you're not around people that can show you that, you're never going to believe it. You could have daily graphs, weekly graphs, monthly graphs. This could be of your income. This could be of your whatever goals. I'm talking so generic, like whatever your goals are, keep track of your goals. We keep track of our numbers as a business. We keep track of the numbers that we brought in this week, the numbers we brought in last week, the numbers we brought in last month, the numbers we're about to bring in this month. And when you do this, things are a lot more predictable. You know that if we did this well this month with this amount of people, now we have more people. Okay. And this is when leaders now can take initiative, where if you have a graph, and let's just say you've had a little pullback, you can look into your business, you can look into what it is you're working on and say, okay, what was we doing? What happened during this period as to why it wasn't going well? Now, some people might look at the graph and just continue doing what they're doing. The training I did a few weeks ago, think big, use your initiative, and make decisions. Ultimately, urgency. Think big, have a dream, right? Use your initiative, create a calendar, create a graph of your progress, and make decisions. That's all successful people do over and over and over again. Whether it's the bad or good decision, make a decision. But if you have a graph and you have a scale of what it is you're doing, guys, we are always in an uptrend. There's no one that has joined this business that is lower than when they started. It's impossible. Maybe financially, but that's irrelevant. I hope not. It better not be. We're in a financial business, right? But there may be someone on this call that, I don't know, they're worst off, right? But it's always an uptrend. Step 10, review the situation. Review how well or how not so well this year went. So if you guys haven't already, what I try to do every single year is I have the questions in my book at home. I don't have them on me now, but John C. Maxwell, he gives you questions that you can ask about yourself about how well the year went prior. Because if you can't look back at why it didn't go well, you're going to come into this year doing the exact same thing. If you don't know the problem, if you don't know the issues, if you don't know the distractions, if you don't know why you didn't get your goals done, it's a very, very scary, it's a scary place to be in. Are you on track? How do you know that you're on track? Review the last 6 months. Review, go back and review your financial. Some of us don't look at our bank accounts, and this was me when I first speaking. Review where you spend your money. You actually realize you have a lot of money. We make a lot of money. Self-analysis, right? This is basically what you're doing. Self-awareness. How aware of you that you do have the money to pay your subscription, you do have the money to start a trading account, but instead you kept on buying a vape every day, or you kept on buying an espresso every day, or you kept on buying stupid things every day, when now you're not aware of what you're even doing with your money. And one of the things that John C. Maxwell teaches is he says, if you really, really want to know how good or not good or bad of a person you are, but as leaders, we all have blind spots. That's why it's important to have a good leadership team. You have blind spots, which means you may not know that, for example, how you speak to people is not how you should speak to people to get the message across. Or you may not know that, whatever it may be, right? The worst case scenario is some people do not know that they smell, right? You need to be able to have people around you who love you and have their best intention for you. You know that they have the best intention for you. Ask them a few things about yourself. Doesn't have to be someone in business, right? But ask someone about yourself and it allows you to become a bit more self-aware. Because having one perception is your perception, but having multiple people's perception, right, is what you need to be doing, right? Apologies, cool. Okay. So look at where you went wrong. Look at what you want to change. What are you most proud of? What are you not so proud of? So in the year gone, in the last 6 months gone, what are you proud of what you did? And what are you not so proud of what you do? At least you're on top of things. Not only top on your business, you're on top of yourself. Now, everything I've gone through just now, guys, it's a thing where either you become this person, as in you already are this person. You have these skill set. My phone is pinging, right? You either have these traits already, which is great, or there may be someone on this call thinking, look, I know I can't sit down with myself, or I know I can't close my eyes and think big. What you need to do ASAP is get around people who do. Get around people who do have leadership energy. And that's why I love this business, because just by paying the subscription, Just by paying to be a part of the community, you can be in events where people have huge leadership skills, huge leadership energy, and just by you analyzing what they do, you can also have similar traits. Okay, but regardless, if you go through these steps bit by bit, you release a leadership energy, which is influence, which is the only way to make money in this industry, guys. Not everyone's going to be the main person. That's fine. Not everyone's going to have a certain level of leadership. Not everyone's going to make a certain amount of money. If you believe you can, you're right. And if you believe you can't, you're right. But some people are just not, they don't believe they have the leadership energy, which is the first initial problem. Right, guys. So I hope you guys have took notes step by step. But this is really, really foundation work. But you can't build a skyscraper, you can't build a castle, you can't build a mansion without foundation. Every successful business, every successful person in the world have gone through these steps. Looking back at my journey so far, success as well has got nothing to do with income. It's got to do with you thinking of an idea. It's the progressive realization of a worthy idea. So if you thought of something and you now got a lot closer to that idea, you are successful. If you've got £100 in your account, if you make £1,000 account a month, whatever it may be, you are successful. But each of these steps is what got took. Okay, guys. So that is it from me. I hope you guys got some sort of value at least, because it wasn't got to do with network marketing. It hasn't got to do with anything along them lines.